Welcome everyone. I'm gonna wait 1 more minute until everyone's like connected, and then I'm gonna start. Perfect. We don't have anyone in the queue anymore. Welcome everyone to our DECIDE replication call information call. This is just a quick reminder, you will not be able to unmute yourself or to start your video because we're going to record this to just have it as a video on demand that we can show to other people if they had questions. Just be aware that, yeah, this is recorded. Then welcome everyone again. I'm going to tell you a little bit about our replication process, about the deciders, about give you a little bit of an overview about the project, about everyone that's involved, and how you can involve yourself or get involved in the project as well if you want to. And I assume you want to since you're here already. In the beginning, I will hand over to, no, sorry. In the beginning, I'll show you the agenda for today's meeting. We have a little welcome. I think we used up that buffer already. So I'm going to hand over to Marta in a minute to do the introduction of the DECIDE project. Then you will be back with me again. I'll give you a little bit of an overview who's involved already. And then George will tell you about his story or the story of his company and how they got involved with DECIDE. He's one of the first round of deciders. And I'm going to take over then again in the end to tell you about expectations, benefits, like what would be nice if you could offer it or implement it, and what will you get in return out of it. And then in the end, we will be able to answer questions that we haven't answered or that pop up throughout the introduction or throughout the call. All right, Marta.
Yeah, first of all, unmute myself, and then thank you, Philip, for your warm welcome. And of course, thank you all for joining us today for this session. I'm Marta Veronesi, project assistant at Tinky, and together with my colleagues, Philippe from BAM, Sylvia and Valeria from ICLAY, and all the other partners, we are trying to nourish and grow in the best way the DECIDE projects. But in a nutshell, what is DECIDE? So DECIDE stands for Developing Energy Communities through Informative and Collective Action, and aims to identify the stay on the other slide. Thank you, Philip. Yeah, I didn't finish. The recipe needed for a community energy initiative to grow and replicate across Europe. DECIDE is an European Horizon 2020 project counting on 14 international partners from all over Europe. And it started in June 2020, and now we are currently halfway. Next. Thank you. So here we can talk about the scope of the project, and the DECIDE project is focused on collective energy initiatives, meaning not only the energy communities as defined by European directives, but also many others collective action. The main goal of the DECIDE initiatives is, in one way or another, benefits the community in the way they are involved with. Next. Thank you. Here you can see the DECIDE activities. The DECIDE activities are grouped into 3 macro areas. The first one is citizen engagement, enabling framework and knowledge and exchange and dissemination. So understanding and improving citizen engagement through workshops, survey, and other engagement activities and events is the main one. And then for enabling framework, which includes analysis and consulting on the regulation, mapping out various organizational structure, and also various existing and emerging business model. And lastly, you can see knowledge and exchange and dissemination, which also here we find out the knowledge hub, where information from the site or any other source regarding energy communities is shared with the general public. Then we have the coffee shop, which represents a closed interaction between the site initiatives, pilots, and decider. And then lastly, we have webinars and workshop. And then within the site, we organize a webinar and workshop of monthly basis, while some of them are accessible to the general public. Others are only accessible to the site pilots and deciders. For example, during this spring, our team of social science researchers are organizing seminars for pilots and deciders on how to engage stakeholders during the whole process of formation of community initiatives. Then lastly, I would say that the site project would not be as valuable without its pilots and deciders, of course, through which we get the understanding on how things work on the ground in a different member states. But to introduce our pilots and decider, I will leave the floor to Philip because he is the best person to do that. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Marta. Yes, I have not introduced myself earlier. I'm responsible for the second work package, or work package 2 in the DECIDE project, which basically is the, let's say, the glue between all the other work packages with input. So we link work package 1 or work package 3 with the deciders, with the pilots. If they need anything to coordinate, we help them. We kind of have the overview of which pilot is in which stage and how to help them develop and grow. This is also why why I'm here today talking to you. Let me introduce our pilots to you in a short overview. We have 7 of them. We have 1 from Austria, 2 from Belgium, 1 from Estonia, a German one, and 2 Greek ones. And I'll give you a very short overview of what they do in kind of 1 sentence, so you get an overview. Maybe you already see someone or some corporation that has something that you're interested in or that you can see yourself working together with. We start with our power. They're an Austrian pilot, and they have a cooperative, but also a community that tries to generate and consume electricity. And they have a model where they try to connect them peer-to-peer to create a marketplace and have people provide for electricity, but based on a we all know each other citizen community feeling, and not just I go online and buy my electricity. Second up, we have our 2 Belgium pilots. We have Thermovolt, who have a software and a hardware solution for boilers, for electrical boilers in rental flats or flats in general, multi-housing solutions. And they try to just make sure that people heat up their water if they have the possibility to postpone it a little bit at the right time to reduce electrical load on the grid, but also reduce what they pay or what the tenant pays in the end. Enbro is an energy brokerage project, let's say. They try to balance between the production and the consumption to enable you if you're a tenant to just reduce your pricing that you pay, so that you can buy the cheap electricity and then just get on by just fine. Trea, which is in Tartu in Estonia. They have a district that they, I think, in the end, want to turn into a completely renewable energy community, but they tackle the most important questions first, which is renovation and also trying to get PV or solar installed on the roofs on certain buildings, and then renovate certain other buildings and be able to share across those buildings and just make sure that the amount of renewable energy generated and consumed in those target houses for now, but also later on in the area, is as high as possible. Our German pilot is the Energiewerke Hindelang, which is a very nice alpine, or yeah, in front of the Alpines region, and they've set their goal to completely or to produce completely renewable energy for the whole valley. It's a little valley. I don't even know how many people live there, but like maybe 20,000 in total. And they are the energy cooperative in that valley, and they are aiming to just generate everything completely CO2 neutral. So the heat, the mobility, and the electricity. Lastly, we have Heron and Domex from Greek. Heron is an electricity retailer, and they set the goal to just set up smart power meters for all of the customers to be able to monitor all the consumption, and then be able to also cater to the needs of the people. And they've also collaborated with Domex, who had kind of like Thermovolt, have a little box, like a hardware and software solution, but for the gas heating, or for the gas heating system in Greece, and they improve efficiency as they run like the heating curve a little bit more environmental friendly. Yeah, that's it from the pilots. All you that are listening now are like the second charge of the deciders. We have already accepted some deciders to kind of check how our progress works, how the program that we thought of, or the concept, how it works, and we've also tweaked it, like we'll adjust it a little bit, but I'll tell you about that later. Let me just quickly show you who's joined DECIDE already. I don't want to explain what they do because I think that would just take too much time. We have the city of Antwerp, we have the Alpine Pearls, we have the CESCO, the Community Energy Service Company, we have Numbat, we have Prague, KM0 Energy from Spain, Clubi, that you'll get a better view into soon, Ecopa from Palermo, Kliman, Copernico, and Abattoir. I'll show you a very quick overview of where everyone in Europe is located right now. The yellow little markers are the pilots, and the kind of Google Maps looking markers are the already joined deciders. And if you want to become a decider or a replicant, then just after this meeting, head over and apply. I'll also tell you a little bit more about what you need to do and how the whole process works after we've heard from George about his story and how he joined DECIDE. George, please.
Thank you very much, Philip. So, hello, good morning to everyone from me. I'm George Martinidis. I work for the cluster of bioeconomy and environment of Western Macedonia. We're located in the city of Kozani in northwestern Greece, in a mountainous region, actually the only landlocked region of Greece. We are developing R&D and business activities in the fields of bioeconomy, bioenergy and environment in order to reinforce green, smart and circular economy in our region and the whole neighboring area in general, and also to support our region's crucial transition from coal, which is ongoing. Klube organization emerged from collaboration between local stakeholders in the last 8 years or so. I would dare say that all of the region's key players are members from the quadruple helix, which includes the regional authority itself, practically all of the local major municipalities, the University of Western Macedonia, which is the region's biggest and only university with presence in all of its cities, the Center for Research and Technology, Hellas, CERT, which is Greece's foremost research organization and also has a department in our region, municipal district heating companies, and around, I would say, 30 SMEs from the sector of bioeconomy in general. So after this brief introduction, next slide, please. Thank you. I will tell you about our participation as deciders in the project. We have been paired actually with the startup company Domex, which Philip described earlier and is part of one of the DECIDE pilots. Domex offer a unique retrofit solution for the automation of natural gas heating systems. This improves the efficiency and user comfort, and also crucially, especially at this time period, lowers the energy costs for space heating. In the context of the project, Domex is piloting their solution to 50 residential gas consumers elsewhere in Greece, and seeing the exact efficiency gains and advantages to these consumers. Now, it is also important to note that our own region has not been connected to the natural gas pipelines in Greece. So this makes it a unique case, and it means that it is not exactly suitable to the main pilot performed by Domex. But here is the interesting part. Because our region was always the energy heartland of Greece, had coal-firing power plants, 3 major cities, well, actually the biggest cities, have district heating systems which operate from, with hot water from the local lignite power plants. And this has, for the last few decades, provided residents with affordable heating in the region that, as I said, is quite mountainous, so quite cold by Greek standards. So, as I also said, the region is undergoing a transition from coal. Coal power plants are shutting down. I don't know how latest international developments will affect things, but the decarbonization has been proceeding actually quite, I would say, critically until recently. And so the main idea here in the context of DECIDE is that our pairing with Domex, which resulted in several productive online and physical meetings, has been focused on the idea of extending and applying their smart heating solution from gas heating to district heating systems, such as those in our region. So trying something new and innovative. So next slide, please. Thank you. So for the moment, we have brought Domex, the startup company I mentioned, in direct contact with the municipal district heating company of Kozani, our city, and the municipal company is one of our cluster members. And we're happy to see that they're also highly interested in implementing smart solutions. They are keeping in track of developments, and so they are very interested in the prospect of this pilot. We are currently in the stage of actually trying to implement it, to apply DOMX's solution to a number of households to get the opinions and attitudes of local citizens towards this. So I would say that our short-term goal within the project's duration is to run this pilot trial with a few households employing district heating for space heating in order to examine the benefits that can be offered in terms of reduced energy consumption, improved comfort and usability that this smart solution provides. And our longer term goal, again, motivated by our participation as deciders, is to ensure that the citizens of Western Macedonia will continue to have access to affordable heating, even when, hopefully, without being too much affected by international developments, as I said, the closure of lignite power plants is completed. So especially in light of the current energy crisis and the risk of energy poverty, it is important that we utilize every kind of intelligent green solution to achieve this goal. And this is where DECIDE and the solution developed by DOMX can play a crucial part. So I hope that I've managed to convey all this. And then in the last slide, yes, some reasons based on our own case and on why should you apply to the DECIDE project as deciders. Well, you can receive, based on our own case, tailored expertise from the DECIDE partners on development process, organizational structures, business models, cooperation contracts, or even specific solutions. We were quite impressed, actually, and unaware of this DOMX solution because, interestingly, while we deal with energy matters, we never checked details on natural gas because it was not used in our region. So DECIDE gave us this very interesting opportunity. So you can also gain access to first-hand knowledge gained by the pilots and first iteration deciders like us. And you can get assistance. Everyone has been very willing to help, I must say, for drafting an implementation plan of your replication effort and following its realization. And you get, of course, opportunities to exchange with peers from pilots and other deciders in several interesting conferences, workshops, and events, and access to capacity building within, but also beyond the scope of the DECIDE project. But I think that Philip can provide you with more specific information on what the project has achieved and can do for you in general. So thank you very much, Philip.
Thank you, George. Yes, I will stay on this slide for a little bit and add some other examples outside of the Club E environment, let's say. We have one of our partners, project partners, is social is involved in social science. And they have, for example, for our power, they had the goal to grow as a community. And they did 3 postcards with different motives on them. One was targeting the energy community as a family, one energy community to help just protect nature, and the third one was energy community kind of because it's cheaper or it will end up cheaper. And they had a unique link that you on the postcard that you could visit the website through and tracked through those links which of the motives are better for the target audience or attracts them more. This is just one of the many examples, but we'll usually go in and collaborate with the partners, the pilots, the deciders, and just see where do those people need help and what kind of information do they need to help advance their business model or their marketing or whatever they're focused on. And then, yeah, I think everything else George has already mentioned. So thank you very much for your insights, George. So now you will probably be asking yourself, sounds quite cool, but yeah, how does this work? How does the collaboration between the deciders and the pilots work? How do I benefit? What do I need to do? So we'll have and also you have probably heard George mentioning that we paired people and that they like became a tandem and worked together. We decided for the second iteration to not do that anymore and to just provide a kickoff event where everyone can meet everyone, and then for you to find out which partner will suit you most, or which cooperation will generate the most benefit for you and also for your counterpart, and that you basically find yourself or match yourself. So for that to happen, we'll have a kickoff event for the new deciders, and yeah, enable you to find a collaboration partner. This can either be happening in a one-on-ones or in tandem or in small groups. If, for example, we take the example of Club E, we could probably also have grouped them up with Domex and Heron together, and it would have still, or not it would have still worked, but it would have benefited others as well. And so we don't want to limit us to tandems anymore. On the other hand, or what we realized is that you will need a strong, or like you need a commitment to constantly get in touch with your partner, with maybe us or myself. So you can ask me for help and what you need, and I can try to find something that helps you to move on and to progress. Yeah, so you need to exchange and progress on results, but we will help you with it. So it won't be as hard as it may seem now. We will give you some tools that we developed. For example, we have action cards that kind of gamify the process to becoming an energy community, and all the steps that we identified are basically little action cards or game cards that you can work on, and that also leads you to the next natural step to becoming an energy community. So we'll provide you with that, and yeah, you can use it, you don't have to use it, but I hope that you'll find it helpful and fruitful. Then, as I mentioned already, you can ask us, so mainly me, for support, and I will just try to find a partner that can offer something that will help you. So if, for example, you let's use the example from our power. If they want to grow their business, they want to scale up a little bit, but they need more customers for that, we can help you with getting an overview or some data on how those customers behave and how we tackle them in the best way to grow. We would ask you to attend regular deciders meetings or plenaries. And just, I mean, participate, share what you've learned, and just be part of the DECIDE community. And then report your progress on everything as well. You can do that online. I mean, so due to Corona, you will probably do that online. And lastly, I will want to show you a little bit of an image or of a graphic that sums that up a little bit, everything that I said, and how everyone in DECIDE is involved together. So we have the DECIDE coffee shop, or the replication process. We're in the middle of changing that a little bit, since we realized that we had a cool idea, but that it needed to be tweaked on one end or the other. And we listened to feedback from the pilots, from the deciders, and tried to streamline it a little bit so that you don't have to do unnecessary things, and that you basically just do what you would do without DECIDE anyways, but at certain points you will get some input that will boost you or that will help you along. So this was mainly the benefits that you get if you join the DECIDE project. We've established, or we realized, that certain things are necessary and that we expect from you as replicants in DECIDE, so that this whole process works smoothly, and that we're not trying to like find meetings, reschedule, and then don't get anything done. It takes a little bit of commitment, but it takes some commitment. So we'll ask you to allocate some of the resources that are needed to participate in certain events, to let me know what you need, to also report on how far you've come, what you've achieved, where your problems are, basically so we can identify together how we can help you along. For the pilots, we have something that's mandatory that George already mentioned. It's the pilot implementation plan. For you, it's optional, but it is basically you can track your KPIs, you can set your goals. So it's just a tool that will help you to keep track on where you want to end up, how you want to achieve this. And it makes sense to just check in on that every 6 months or a year or so, and just refocus on what you wanted to do. If you derive from that, that's totally fine, but like, why did you do it? Are you still on track, etc. So it's a monitoring tool that is not mandatory for you, but I think it helps a lot, and yeah, we'll provide it to you as well. One thing that we do ask of you are to track KPIs, or to set up KPIs and then track them. We also have partners in the DECIDE community that are focused on that, and we will also do a workshop or a webinar on that soonish, I think. So you will have something that you can track, and that goes kind of like hand in hand with the implementation plan. But we still, for that one, ask you to follow KPIs to grow your collective action or your energy community, and like further your impact, which I mean, I think you probably all want to do anyways. You can use the coffee shop as an opportunity to meet more deciders and overcome barriers. So what I mentioned already earlier, we'll have the replication process, and then we'll also have a coffee shop, which is outside of the people that you are linked with or that you matched, let's say, and you can just talk to them, maybe figure out that in certain areas you have the same problem as someone else, or someone else has been at a certain problem half a year before you did, and they found an easy solution which you can use. So I mean, basically what you picture when you hear the word coffee shop. You go in for a coffee, sometimes you find more people, sometimes less people. You just talk to them, get in touch, and then maybe identify certain aspects where you can collaborate together. And lastly, because I mean, this is what the whole process is about, making use of the capacity building events and the materials provided to be active in DECIDE, and to basically want to grow and evolve and collaborate with us. If you now come to this point of, yeah, that sounds cool, I want to apply, let me give you an introduction first of all of who can apply. I mean, I think you probably already read that when you signed up for this call, but yeah, to be eligible to apply, you have to be a EU member state, or you have to be in a country that is associated to the Horizon 2020 project. You don't have to be an energy community or a collective action yet, or like you don't have to be an energy community yet, but you have to be motivated to want to become one and to want to improve in the like renewable energy generation aspect. We have a self-assessment tool online that I think we send out later, or maybe someone has already sent it in the chat. Where you can check your own status, and you have to provide the capacity and the willingness to actively participate in the project, which I have already mentioned before what that all involves. For the FAQs, how do we select the applicants, and which applicants will be given priority? If you match the requirements that I've mentioned before, you can basically apply. And we will then come together at the end of the deadline within our DECIDE project partners and just approve you or like talk about you and then approve you. And then you can join the program. So lastly, how does the application process work? As we mentioned earlier, or as I mentioned earlier on the slide before, you can check your status in the self-assessment tool. Are you like an energy community? Are you a collective action? You need to read and also sign, I think, the memorandum of understanding, where we've basically highlighted, or not highlighted, where we've written down everything that is required of you that we will provide for you. It's a more detailed document of the slide that I've mentioned earlier, where I showed you the benefits and also what we expect of you. So you need that. If it's possible for you, have a letter of support from a municipality or a supporting organization that shows us that you are motivated enough to become an energy community, or that you are an energy community and you want to evolve. And once you have all those documents in hand, fill out the application form and wait for our feedback after the DECIDE General Assembly, which will happen on the 23rd, 24th of May. So yeah, last week of May, first week of June, somewhat in that area, we will have everything ready and decided, and then come back to you. So what are the next steps? A little summary again. You'll have until the 13th of May to apply to become a decider, to follow our replication process. We will then decide on up to 19 new deciding, or like deciding organizations to become deciders at the General Assembly, which I already mentioned earlier, happening on the 23rd, 24th of May. And then after you've been selected, we invite you to participate, be active, everything that I mentioned before already. So yeah, this is my call to you. Become a DECIDE replicant, or decider, how we call them. Apply for the call. And if you now have any further questions that I haven't mentioned, or like something that I forgot, or maybe it's just too obvious for me and I didn't mention it, feel free to ask me, or if you have questions to George, feel free to ask him. And just, yeah, state your questions in the chat, or raise the hand, yeah, as Valeria said in the chat, and then we'll come back to you and reply. While you're thinking of questions to ask me, I'll have 2 or 3 questions prepared, let's say, that I can run through. But this is not to like take away time from your questions. So once you have a question, just pop them in the chat, and I'll do my best to reply to them. I've talked a lot about like what is, or like a lot about pilots and deciders. We set up the DECIDE project with pilots already in mind, to grow together with, to support and to help. But we also had one very big focus point in the project to replicate. So our aim is that in the end, we established, let's say a snowball system, where one initiative talks to another initiative or to 2 other initiatives, and they learn a little bit from each other. They establish themselves, they go out throughout the country, and then just talk to other corporations, and yeah, kind of multiply. And we want to create a source of knowledge where people can look certain things up and then grow together, and just, yeah, in the end, we want to have more energy communities than when we started, or like way more, and help with the energy change. First question, please, can we have this presentation and our address of email? We will definitely send, sorry, yeah, I understood. We will definitely send out this presentation, and you will also get a link through to this record. Yep. So on the website, we stated that submissions are being revised on a rolling basis. So we want to have our 19 replicates at the end of the deadline, but we also realized that the longer you are able to participate within the DECIDE project, the better it is for you, and in the end, the better it is for the project. So if you apply early and we feel that you're a good match, and that we maybe already have someone in mind that you can work together with and collaborate, we have we can approve you early, and you can come in and join the DECIDE project earlier than like end of May, beginning of June. So if you have all your application material ready, don't wait until the end of May. Just pop it in, and then we'll try to approve you early and let you in, and you can already participate. We'll have some capacity building workshops regarding regulatory barriers. We have some more of the social science and communication workshops coming up soon, that, as I think Marta mentioned earlier, that some of them are limited to just the DECIDE family. So it makes sense for you to apply as soon as possible, and then we can let you in if you meet all the requirements, and we will, or you will be able to participate in those events already. Okay. Then one more other question that I was asked like before this. What are the 3 main reasons to join DECIDE? I would say the first thing definitely is that we have experts in the social science and also in the regulatory barriers department that are very good at what they do, and they're also very into, they want to change the energy, or they want to further the energy transition in Europe. So there are problems that I'm a mechanical engineer. There are problems that I didn't think would come up, and they were already aware of it and catered to those needs for the certain pilots or also deciders. So there are areas that you may have not targeted in your business plan or in your approach that are very important, and they will catch up to you eventually, that those people have covered. So I think that's one of the very big aspects. The community and the connection. So we have a lot of people who know a lot of other people throughout other projects that they've been in, or throughout the DECIDE project as well. We've reached out to certain other companies. So you'll have access to a big network. The third one, I think we've done a pretty good job at the replication materials, and it looks really nice, and it's not just a dry Excel sheet, but it's something nice and something visual that helps you make maybe some hard and repetitive work a little bit nicer, and gives you some ideas to just spice it up a little bit or change it up a little bit, and just get what you do daily, or to help you with your daily struggle a little bit and make it a little bit nicer. And we have one other question. Is there any special guideline putting by DECIDE project? Yeah, so at I think on the website, on the page where you also signed up for this event, we already have all the material up that you need to apply. I would say I will also just put it like everything that you need, the memorandum of understanding, like an information Word document that basically sums up everything that I've told you and a little bit more in the follow-up email. But as Sylvia, my colleague, already posted in the chat, it's linked under Replicants. I will also put everything in the email. So if you can't find it or you're unsure, just wait for that email to come through. Then you can watch again the recording of this, and you will also have all the all the documents and material that you need to apply. You're welcome. I've ran out of prepared questions to talk through or to talk to you while you're thinking of questions. So if you have any more questions, if anything is unclear, or I don't know, if you want to know something about a pilot or about us, feel free to pop a question in chat. In case of any other question, how can interested people reach out? Oh, yeah, sorry, it took me a moment to understand that. As I'll send out the email to you, you will also be able to reply to that email and ask me. So if you have a question to Marta or to anyone in the DECIDE project or to George, just send it to me and I'll figure out, I'll identify I'll identify who is the best person to reply to or to answer to your question, and then I'll sort it out internally and people will come back to you with an answer. So just whatever you have, even after this, if tomorrow you wake up and you realize, ah, shit, I have this question, how can I ask it? Just send it to my mail. You will get it later on. I'll send out all the information material through that email address. And then I'll just make sure that you get a good and detailed reply from someone that best suits that question. Okay, I would say, since there haven't been any questions in the chat lately, except from Sylvia, I would close this around 10 minutes earlier, and you can go and grab a coffee before your next meeting. And if you have any, as I mentioned earlier, if you have any other questions, A, will send out all the material to you, but B, also feel free to just reply to my email with all the questions, and I will see that I can get you an answer as soon as possible. Perfect. Well then, thank you very much, everyone, and have a lovely morning/afternoon. And I'm looking forward to hear from you all.
Thank you, Philip. Bye.
Thank you, Philip, so much. And thank you, everyone, to join us today.